Hi everyone, Caleb here with the walkthrough on deploying OpenClaw on Akash network. Now before we jump into the technical stuff, I want to spend a few moments talking about what OpenClaw is, why you should care, and why deploying it on Akash is hands down the smartest way to run it. So OpenClaw, if you haven't heard about it yet, is an open source, self-hosted AI agent that actually does things. It can read your files, browse the web, manage your calendar, it can install its own tools, and it operates directly on whatever machine it's running on. You can talk to it via messaging apps that you already use, such as Telegram, Discord, Slack, and more. And then it goes straight to work. People are now using it for a variety of things, such as email management. They're getting AI morning briefings, and they're using it to control their homes. And of course, devs are using it for production tasks. Really, the world is your oyster when it comes to these things. There is a word of warning, though. The current security landscape was fundamentally designed to keep the outside world out. So the whole security infrastructure and architecture is about limiting external access to your internal systems. Ironically, to use the AI agents like OpenClaw effectively, we have to be willing to give them direct access to our machines, our files, messaging platforms, with the appropriate permissions to act on our behalf. Now, this is incredibly powerful, but it's also incredibly risky if you're not careful. Even OpenClaw's own maintainers have warned that if you don't understand what you're doing, this kind of tool can be dangerous. These agents, when misconfigured or given way too many permissions, can expose sensitive data or perform unintended actions. Now, this isn't a knock on OpenClaw or agents, it's just the reality of any software that requires deep system access. So let's talk about how to maximize the utility while minimizing the risk. This is where I believe Akash Network comes in. Let me break down three reasons why. First is isolation. When you deploy OpenClaw on Akash, you're spinning up an isolated cloud instance that is completely separate from your personal machine. Now, this means that you're forced to be intentional about what data and credentials that you put on it. You should only be populating it with information that you're willing to share with the world and not afraid to lose. Your personal files, your private keys, your family photos, none of that is at risk with the cloud deployment. Second is the cost. Before you go out and drop real money on dedicated hardware, you can test whether or not OpenClaw is even useful to you for about $5 a month. About a cost of a latte to have a fully functional AI agent running 24/7 in the cloud. You get to experiment, break things, learn, all without any real financial commitment. Now, the secret is to pair this with Akash ML for your agent's brain, and you can enjoy open source model intelligence without breaking the bank. And lastly, there are no commitments on Akash. This is a huge win for those that want to do a little bit of experimentation. With Akash, there are no minimum commitments, there are no contracts, there are no cancellation fees. You can spin up a deployment, test it out, tear it down, whenever you want. And if it's not for you, you can close it and walk away. If you love it, you can keep it running. You're in full control the entire time. So, bottom line is OpenClaw is powerful, it's exciting, and it is worth exploring. But running it on your own personal machine comes with real risks. And Akash gives you a safe, affordable, flexible, and decentralized way to get started today. All right, with that out of the way, let's get ahead with the actual deployment. Here's how you would set it up. Welcome to our OpenClaw Akash Network deployment walkthrough. So the first thing we're going to do is go to console.akash.network where you can sign in or sign up for a new account. And if you sign up with your email, you can get $100 in deployment credits as well. So definitely take advantage of that if you don't already have an active account. So the first thing we're going to do is hit up the template section where we can search for OpenClaw, and we can bring up the deployment template here. And up here, you're going to hit the deploy button. And the only thing we need to change is our password right here. So for the sake of this deployment, we're going to change the password to test123. I suggest a stronger password for your agent. All right, so we're going to go hit create deployment. We're going to put the $5 in. And so at this point, we submitted our job to the network, and it's going to ask all of the providers on the network who can host my OpenClaw deployment, and we are going to let them bid for the lowest price for my business, basically. So here we can go as low as $393 a month, or 564. Now the uptime here isn't the best, so I'm going to stick with a higher uptime provider and pay 560 for a month. Not bad. All right, so our installation is installing, so we're going to give it a moment, and once it's done deploying, we're going to be able to go ahead and click leases over here and click this link. This will give us access to our deployment. At the moment, we're still waiting for OpenClaw to get started, so we'll give it some time. All right, a few seconds later, we're done. So we're going to click the link here, and it's going to ask for the password. I'm going to use the same test123 and log in. And so once it's logged in, it's going to ask me for my Akash ML key. So here it gives me a direct link to go to Akash ML, and I can get $100 in free credit. Once again, if you haven't used Akash ML, you can go ahead and grab your free credits. All you have to do is sign up. I, of course, already have an account, and so I'm just going to use my API key here. So once you're logged in, you can go to Settings and API Keys, and then you're going to create a new one. I'm going to create a new one here. Let's call it Claw Test 4, and I'm going to create the key. So here I'm going to copy the key, and then I'm going to go back over to the Akash, OpenClaw and Akash installation, and then we're going to paste the key here, and then we are going to hit next. It's now going to ask me for one of my messaging apps. So in this case, I'm going to use Telegram. I really prefer Telegram because they have something called a bot fodder, and you can create as many bots as you like, and each one is going to be isolated in an isolated chat for you to use, and I prefer that one than sharing any of my Discord or Slack tokens. So I'm going to go here to Telegram. So I've already brought this up, but in the case that you have you don't know how to get here, you just have to go to the search button, type in bot fodder, and usually that's the thing over here. And if you hit the open button, it opens up this little applet, But then if you click on the link itself, then it opens up a chat. Either or, they're both, you can use either or. For the sake of ease, I'll just use this chatbot version over here. It gives a list of commands, including new bot to create new bots. So I'm going to go ahead and type in new bot. And then they're going to ask me to choose a name, so I'm just going to type in clawbot4. Then I need to choose a username. It just has to end with bot as the name, so we'll do clawbot testing bot. All right, so once we get this, you're going to get an API key for your bot. Now this is very important to keep private, because if anybody else has access to this, then they can basically open up a conversation with your bot and start to use your credits, which you probably don't want to happen. Don't worry, this is going to be temporary for me. I'll be deleting this afterwards, so I don't mind sharing my API here. But you'll take this bot token and paste it into this section and initialize. So we are going to initialize, and it's going to take some time to run. We'll wait for it. Okay, about 1 minute in, we've gotten to the next step where it's now configuring the gateway. We'll wait for it again. So another minute in, it gets down to time to pick the Akash ML models. There are a few models that are available with your Akash ML API key, all of it which is open source. So we are going to go ahead and select the model soon. All right, and then we're done. And this whole process took about 2 to 3 minutes or so. And waiting for it to refresh. We've got ourselves entry to this special UI created by Julius of the core team. So really appreciative of that. It makes everything a lot easier to manage. If you want to go towards the, the default control panel, you can click here, and that will bring you up to the OpenClaw default control panel. But I kind of like this new setup that they made. So next thing that we have to do is going to be approving the pairing, and this is the pairing between your Telegram bot and this deployment over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Telegram. We are going to click to talk to our bot. So you have to click to find the chat. So this is the chat right here. I named it Clawbot Testing Bot. So here it is, clicking it and hit the start button, and now I'm in a conversation a one-on-one DM with my ClawBot, my OpenClaw. So here we have the pairing code. We're going to copy that as well, and then we are going to move back here to approve pairing. We are going to type in our pairing code and hit the approve button. Give it a few seconds and it should be approved, and we can start to have our conversation with our OpenClaw installation here. Okay, once it's approved, we're going to go back to our chat here. So in this case, let's see, hey, I just came online. Who am I? Who are you? So this is basically the confirmation from the bot. So I had to type in /start once again just to make sure that it's working, but it looks like it is. So we're just gonna keep going, and let's say, hi, my name is Calum. You are my AI assistant, Jarvis. And then we'll see that chatting with the bot on Telegram works correctly. So here you see that the bot is thinking. So we'll give it a moment. Perfect. And now let's see what they're running on. Hey Jarvis, can you run on Minimax with the Akash ML API? So it shows here that it's currently running on the DeepSeek version 3.2, but I can ask it to switch. So that's the unique thing. Let's set Minimax as the model for our session, and then we can have it get to work. All right, and then that's it. It switched over to Minimax for our session. So here you can use your bot to do things for you. We no longer have to configure it ourselves. In terms of skills, we can ask it to create skills for us, or we can use the UI that's available to install new skills from the OpenClaw growing marketplace of skills that they have all listed. Be careful, not all of them are safe to use. It's probably better to create your own skills. I'm not going to go over that in this tutorial, but the point is we are now deployed and ready to go, and our session is active. So the next thing I'm going to do is show you how to close the session in case that you are done with it. You can go back to your deployment here, go to deployments under the Akash Console, and here you see I have a couple of deployments. This is the one that I just opened up. So I'm going to just go here and hit the close button and confirm, and then that's it. That closes my deployment. So as easy as I can deploy an OpenClaw installation, I can always take it down as well, just as easy. And that's it. Thank you for watching my tutorial on how to deploy OpenClaw on Akash Network. See you next time.